So my name is Paul Gladston. I'm the University of New South Wales Professor of Contemporary Art, and we're here in Shenzhen today at the SeaWorld Centre for Culture and Arts, and we have a screening of some videos by contemporary Chinese artists. And in a moment I'm going to, after we've shown videos by two artists who have kindly come along with us here today, I'm going to invite them to talk about their work, and they'll speak in Chinese. I should just say that I'm very grateful to my assistant curators and co-curators, Yique and Lin Zi, who, and particularly Yique, who made a huge effort in actually organising this screening. It is not easy to do a screening of videos in China for all sorts of reasons. So the fact that we're here today in a major art centre showing a series of videos is quite an achievement. Last thing I'll say is this relates to an exhibition that we're doing in London next year of contemporary video art from the Sinosphere, so different Chinese-speaking regions across the world. And I hope you can join us for that exhibition. But in the meantime, we're going to watch two videos, and then the artists are going to talk about their work. So let's show, are we going to start with Lijie's video? Okay, let's roll that one and then go on to Haijiao's video, and then I'll invite them to come and talk about their work. That was a video by Lijie, who's over here, titled Rain on the Platform. It's actually a two-channel video, but hopefully we'll be able to cut some imagery into the video of that later on. But the next piece that we're going to look at is by another artist who's here, Haijiao, and this one is called Light from the Sun in English. I think, as you can see from these videos, and it's what I like about the videos that we've selected for this screening and for the show in London, is that they resist any easy interpretation. They have meaning, but it's complex and it's layered and it's fluid. They're very poetical. And I really respect the artists for resisting what's become a kind of commonplace within video art and other forms of art internationally, to convey messages, like clear messages. And these artists are resisting that easy option and giving us something more complicated, more sophisticated, more layered, and more open to discussion. So on that, I'd like to invite Lijie just to come up, say a few words about your work. Feel free, speak in Chinese, but if you say a few words in English, that's okay, but speak in Chinese. Yeah, speak in Chinese.
然后前面那个蓝色的那个作品是我做的，它其实是一个双屏的一个影像，所以大家就是之后如果感兴趣的话，可以在这边就是有一个完整一点的呈现。然后它本身是有一些声音的，那个声音的话是一种在一个密闭空间里面外面的一个雨声从远处传过来这种感觉。然后我拍的其实是就是2017年的时候，我在深圳那个离这边不远的那个高新园粤海街道那边工作，所以有一天我从地铁站出来的时候，突然看到外面下了非常大的雨，然后所有的从地铁出来的这些上班族，就包括我一样，就突然被这种大雨挡住了去路，然后脸上就会整个人的状态会是一种比较焦急焦灼的一种，或者是这种迷茫的一个状态，所以我当时就是拍下了这个，然后这个素材我一直放了比较长时间。那其实比较打动我的可能就是这一种这种影像当中的一种给我的感觉是深圳的劳工人民，就是工作的人的一种群像。那就据我所知，其实深圳在很早，比方说可能明清或者更早之前，深圳这一片其实都是盐场嘛，包括深圳有个叫盐田区，它名字其实也是跟整个盐场有关，所以在整个深港或者更大的一个范围内，最主要劳动的人民他们其实是盐工。 那现在我拍的这些人，他其实可能虽然是工作不同了，但是仍然是这些劳动的人民。那我觉得可能这种劳动的人民的这种状态，也许是无论是从一个很艰苦的一个盐工，到现在的这种打工人，其实这种状态可能是一种很连绵、很延续的一种状态。所以我用这种蓝晒去呈现它。蓝晒的话，它其实是一种比较传统的一种摄影的媒介技术，它是通过水以及阳光，然后去进行曝光。它就不像以前的这种是用这种放大机，就以前我们这种暗房的工作去进行曝光，它是将影像放在太阳下面曝光，所以它呈现的其实所有的画面是靠太阳的能量转换而来的，但它呈现的却是一种跟影像气质有点相似的一种忧郁的这种 blue 的这种感觉，所以就大概是这样子。
I want to ask you one question. Maybe you could just speak very briefly in English. So this blue color, and you've done it with some of your other artworks, relates to cyanotypes, which is an early form of photography. Could you just say a little bit about why you're interested in cyanotypes and what meaning or feeling you're trying to evoke by using that form?
So why I use this skill is because, as I say before, in Chinese, it's convert from the light, it's from the natural energy. So for me, most photography work, I work in the very dark room or in the digital way. So it's very cold for me. But when you do this, the blue photography, you can go outside, you can touch the sun, you can feel the sun's energy. So this was very why I choose this, I think. Yes. And this is, it seems very similar for more traditional photograph skills, but when you do the film, it could be very difficult because it has, you need to do like 12 picture per second. So it will has a lot of work in this progress, but I really enjoy it.
But it also, using that kind of historical form of photography, also makes the time in which the images are set very difficult to assess. It could be in the past, it can be in the present, it could even be in the future.
Just like I say in before, because like for a long time ago, like 200 or 100 years ago in Shenzhen or in this Guangdong district, is like the salt factory. For the most people work here is for their worker and they work for the salt. And now the people maybe work for the high digital company, high tech company, but they are still the worker.
Yes.
So the workers' attitude is the same. Is the overcover the hundreds years. Yeah. So and now the nowadays is change every day by every day. So even I live in Shenzhen, I feel I feel not very familiar with Shenzhen. Even especially in the Nanshan or the west part in Shenzhen, it changed a lot. So I use the very traditional way to feedback this change. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. That's really, really great.
Okay, yeah.
So nicely onto a video called Light from the Sun. So if you want to come up, put the microphone on.
对，大家看到的第2件作品，它的中文名字叫《来自太阳的光》，就是这件作品是我近期刚完成的一件影像。我觉得可以从2个方面去介绍这件作品。第一个方面就是，其实大家看完这10分钟的影像，就是其实看到它每个镜头其实都是一个固定的机位去拍一面墙， 但是看完之后，其实大家可以看到，就是每一面墙它其实是一个不同的质感。是因为我在拍摄这些墙面的时候，其实它唤起了我很多这个实体关于不同时代的记忆。比如说，我们会看到有一些土坯墙，它其实就是比如说中国50、60年代的这种西北的中国的民居，然后会看到一些砖墙，然后这些砖墙其实会，给我的时代记忆是70、80年代的这种中国的国营工厂的记忆，然后后面也会看到一些，比如说建筑工地的一些临时建筑的一些墙体，所以我觉得这些墙它可能就代表着一些时间的不同的层次。另一个其实是大家看到这些墙上会有2个元素，一个元素其实是墙面上会有一些文字，然后有一些镜头里面的有一些文字其实是真实于来自于这个墙面上的，比如说大家可以看到一些广告，比如说是什么水泥沙子，它会用一种扁扁的黑体字，然后沾着蓝色的油漆去书写，还会留下电话号码。其实对我来说，我觉得这也是一种美学的，就是文字的美学。然后后面我其实是引用了很多我喜欢的海子的诗歌，是跟阳光有关的，然后跟农业的记忆有关的，然后把这些诗歌就是在纸上去把它画出来，画出来之后通过后期，然后去贴到这些墙面上。另外一个元素其实就是牧羊人的形象，因为我冬天去到中国西北的这个地区，其实它是一个伊斯兰人的一个聚集地，然后这种牧羊其实是冬天的一种对我来说其实是一种农业记忆的景观。我觉得这些人的形象就好像跟这些不同的墙面能够发生一种很奇妙的美学关系，然后我就通过这种手绘动画的方式，用这种木炭的材质把这些牧羊人的形象画出来，也是通过后期的方式拼贴到这些墙面上。最后我就介绍一下这个10分钟的影像，其实它有一个时间的概念，就是一开始看到一个特别刺眼的镜头，这个刺眼的镜头其实是在正午的时分，就是一天之中这个阳光最强的时候，然后拍摄的。这时候如果我们说的技术一点，这时候这个阳光的色温可能会在6、7千K， 其实它是一个冷光的状态，但是随着时间的推移，慢慢到最后一个镜头是一个日落月升的状态，就是阳光会变得越来越暖。就是我觉得这也是回到了一个关于影像时间本质的这么一个叙述吧。对。
Thank you. Just maybe a few words in English,
Yeah.
very briefly.
Okay.
Haijiao, his poetry is a feature of the video.
Yeah.
So a lot of his extracts from his poems feature on the wall text.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about who Haijiao was and why he's significant to this video.
Okay. I'm not sure the audience know about Haizi, but Haizi is a very important poet in last century, in 1980s. In that year, Haizi wrote a lot of poem about travel, about the light from the sun, and about the agriculture, about the shepherds. And the important thing is Haizi was suicide in 1989. So he become I think it's become a legend of the literature in China. And when I was with middle school, and one of his poem is in your Chinese class. So when I go to the west of China to film the landscape, it will remind me to remind his poem. Yeah.
So one screen is focused on the worker, about the persons, and one screen is about the nature, the park, the water drops on the high-tech park, the road full of the river is like the details in we live.
Yeah, it's important to say. Now, hopefully, we'll see it cut into the video. But one screen deals with the natural world, or at least parks and natural space in Shenzhen, and the other side are workers at the railway station, and it starts to rain, and they put their umbrellas up. So there's a kind of dialogue between people and nature.
Yeah.
And there's rain in both parts of the video.
Yeah. It's the cause in the south of the China is very usual with the big rain. So I just want to share the wet feeling about what I feel. Yeah.
But it's interesting how when the rain comes, it changes the way we feel when it rains. So we're outside and the rain comes and it changes our feeling. And it's also in the video. It kind of shifts the way we feel about the video because the rain has intervened with the experience of the people that are there as well as nature. So the weather changes the way we feel about things.
Yeah. Because also when you do the sinotop, and you always you need to close to the film with the paper, and sometimes when they have the space, they are not close so much, and the picture will not so clearly. So you can also feel the like the water drop on the paper.
Yes.
And they will show you it's not the rain you shot, it's the rain on when you make the film, make the picture.
Because it's worth saying about cyanotypes, it's an early form of like contact photography. So you put objects on treated paper and then you expose them to sunlight.
Yeah.
And then that records these blue images.
Yeah.
And it was used quite often in the 19th century to illustrate plants, like botanical illustration, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But you're using that colour and that form for a different reason, for a kind of poetical reason to, I guess, express the feeling of that contact with nature.
Yeah, because in my memory, I didn't see like to use the sinotop to make a video, and I just very interesting if I do this and what will show to me, because if you don't want to do this, the easier way just to put effect on the edit software, and it's very easy to see it. But it's totally different when I finish this work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one last question. In your other work, you're often blurring the boundary between reality and sort of enchanted spaces, like spaces that are unreal or that are kind of dreamlike. And it's the same in this video. You've got images of everyday reality in Shenzhen, but it also feels like it's in another world, which could be in the past, or it could be a kind of dream world or parallel world. Was that something that you were trying to continue with this work?
Yes, because it's like, because I was inspired by an old film called, I think it's called also it's Rain. It's an old Europe film. It's a document, I think. It's Vanderson.
Oh, Wes Anderson.
文德森的雨好像是， 我不知道文德森文德就是
Wim Wenders.
yeah
Yeah,
maybe
Wim Wenders.
yeah.
Which film was that?
And it's also a big ring, and
Yes.
the people is very hurry, and is the shot is like very close to their face.
Yeah.
And there's horse or something like that. It's black and white.
Yes.
Yeah, I was inspired by
By
that.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Because Wim Wenders often does something similar to you, that he mixes reality with dreamlike sequences, like the Heaven Over Berlin film, where the angels are kind of occupying the space in Berlin alongside real people.
Yeah.
Oh, right, that's a fantastic connection. So that you drew some inspiration from those films.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
It's also like a fake document. I
Yes.
know there's some shot is not the real, it's the actors.
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to find out which film you mean. I've got a big collection of Wim Wenders videos, so I'll check it out. Anyway, if you wouldn't mind passing that on.
Okay.
Haijiao, you must have travelled out to the spaces that you filmed. Whereabouts is this? It seems to be a very dry, kind of desert-like region. Whereabouts did you film?
The place is in northwest China, because I think China is a very big country, and if you go to northeast, is a kind of landscape. Now we were in Shenzhen, is a like tropical place, and if you go to the Tibet, is a very high altitude place, and the film is I filmed in Ningxia province, and the city is called Zhongwei. So it's a special zone is in China because the Muslim they will live there, and the Yellow River is a very important river of Chinese civilization. Is in there. We can see the river in the film. So I was filmed in the I think it's February, it's winter time. So the landscape is very attractive to me because maybe is because my character I very like the landscape is very dry and no people there. We can see the landscape but no people, and when I film I cannot see the bird, I cannot see the people, but I can hear the bird singing, and I can hear the shepherd shouting. Yeah. Maybe they shouting their sheep. The sheep is very far from him, but so she's shouting. So I think the shouting is like another scene in the quiet place. So I mixed all the things and to film to finish the film. Yeah.
So what came first? Was it the filming?
Yeah.
And then the poetry?
Yeah.
So you added the poetry to the film, is that right?
Yeah. So the progress of the work is a very long time. The first time is in February. I filmed the different kind of wall, and then I go back to my studio and I just think, how can I to make progress of the work, and I read the poems. Actually, I read a lot of different poets' work, and finally, I think Lijie is very has a connection with the work, and then I try to different of technique to make the shadow of the shapers. I tried to the AI or the 3D animation, but I think it's not very suitable for my work, and then I decide to go back to go back to Zhongwei and to film the real shepherds and ask them to walk and film, and then I go back to my studio and I make a projection of the videos and use it's chalk.
Yeah, I've seen the drawings.
Yeah, chalk, and it's very big paper. It's like the wall, and I projection and just painting the shepherds and one frame, and then I eraser the painting and the next frame. So I think the work I spent a very long time, and yeah, so but I think but finally I think the audience can see the craft thing. It's the work is not filmed by the cold camera, is about hand. So I think this work is enlightened me to make more work about with the classic style, is work with hand. Yeah. So maybe my next work and then another work is enlightened from this work. Yeah.
Because I think it's characteristic of both of your work that even though you're using lens-based media and computer technology, actually there isn't always an element of the hand in both of your making, and accidents and things that aren't quite clear.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a bit about it's interesting that you're cutting between scripts that you've obviously applied using digital technology onto the walls. Yeah. So presumably you filmed a wall and then you added a script. Yeah. But there are other images there which are clearly of, advertisements and other slogans that are actually there. Is that right?
Yeah.
So it's a juxtaposition of actual writing on walls and this poetical writing that you've brought to the imagery.
Yeah, I think people always ask why the word is appear on the wall. So I always answer is because in my child memory is in the very society time of Chinese socialism. And when I was in my primary school, and I can see many slogans in that time, like I speak Chinese, 增强人民体制，发展体运动，增强人民体制 is a very 1990s slogan in China, and I think the slogan painting on the wall is use a very special font. Is not like now we can see we call the Hei font, but in that time we call the Song font, and a little bit different from now. So for me is a memory of that time, and I was learning calligraphy when I was a child for a long time. So I have I think I have a special relationship with the font, with the poem and literature. So every time I go to the China's village or some place, I can see many different advertisements in different color and different fonts. It's very attractive. Like in this video, we can see the gold, still the gold advertisement. So I want to mix the poem and with it is fiction and the reality. And
I mean, it's interesting because it blurs the boundary so that between like slogans on walls. So you make the poetry, Heitz's poetry, into a kind of slogan and use the font, presumably from back in the 90s and before that. But you're then turning everyday advertising into poetry. It kind of has a poetical feeling. Was that an intention of yours to sort of move between these two forms and actually blur the boundary between them? I mean, it might not have been your intention, but that's how I read it. So not every artists don't always intend exactly what's going on in their work. But I think the effect of your work is for it, a bit like Lijie's work, you're not quite sure what's real and what's unreal. And you're not quite sure what's everyday writing and what's poetry. I mean, certainly you think to a non-Chinese audience, they might not immediately understand the difference between the two.
他说，就像唐丽杰的作品一样，在这个作品中，似乎在这个影像中似乎什么是真实的，什么不是真实的，或者说诗歌，和非诗歌，对吧？在这个真实或非真实的场景中，它好像成为了一组，我觉得像坐标系式的东西，是吧？真实非真实，诗歌非诗歌，的这种相互交叉，相互的这种作用，sorry, I forget the question, but sort of that's the point of.
Yeah, it's kind of blurring the boundary between what's real and what's poetic.
所以说，好像这个真实，就刚才说的这种界限就变得非常模糊，这四者之间的界限，对吧？那么就是说，这是一种什么样的考虑？这是你一个有意为之的这么一个。
我要么接下来用中文。
可以。
Can I speak Chinese and Lin Zi? 其实我觉得 Paul 刚才说了，包括谭丽杰的作品，其实都有涉及到这么一个问题。包括我猜 Paul 刚才其实说的是文德斯的那个《柏林苍穹下》这个电影，就是其实我觉得真实与非真实这样一个界限，其实是在当代艺术的影像里面，经常会出现的一种手法。然后这种界限其实造就了一种艺术的诗意化的审美，所以我觉得这个也是艺术家常常用这种方式去做的一种原因。然后我可能也是有意或者无意出于这种考量，对，就是模糊界限跟诗意、艺术化之间的这么一个连接。
So I think previously when Paul mentioned the film. And Anderson, maybe so. What he mentioned this one Under the Berlin Sky, right? Okay, yeah, and I mean it's just as such in such film, what is real, what is not real, as such, what is angel there was not there, it became sort of suspended, right? Question there, right? Like you can interpret it in either way, and it both works. So Haijiao said for him, this is sort of the embedded features of video, or what video can do. Yeah, I mean, it has such quality to blur the boundaries between it, right? It is illusional by its nature, right? But it is real also by, right? So so. For him, I think he said it is not his invention of it, but just using what has already been there, the features of video as a media.
I think that's very enlightening. My reading is, for both of your work, is that you are using those inherent qualities of video or film, which do exactly what you've described. But what makes it interesting is that you're bringing that media and those techniques in relationship to Chinese culture. And one of the things, and you may need this translated, but One of the things that I think both of you do is that your work is very contemporary, but it's also classical, because you make references to the kind of things that we would expect as part of classical Chinese culture, like images and poetry blurring into one another and never being quite in a fixed place. And also things open very much to interpretation in a kind of classical, poetical, painterly way that is typical of Chinese art historically. Now, you may need that translated, but the question is, was that your intention, to be both contemporary and classical? And if it wasn't, do you think that's an appropriate reading of your work?
OK， 所以刚才 Paul 说呢，就是说，一方面呢，他觉得你们的作品，就是两位艺术家的作品是很当代的，对吧？里面有很多的当代的语言、当代的特征，以及它显然是属于当代艺术范畴。但另一方面呢，他提到就是说，他觉得这里面在更深层的这么一个维度上，这些作品又含有跟中国的就是古典古代的绘画同源的或者说同向特征的一些表象，比如说就是图像和文字的这种并置出现的这种形式以及我觉得我刚才Paul没有说，但我想补充，比如说轴的这种观看方式，对吧？你知道它也是打开一部分，然后卷上另外一部分，对吧？那么他就说到，就是对于这种更深层的联系，觉得在二位的作品中是他认为是无意中出现的，因为我们是生活在中国的文化中，还是说是你们有意的去就是参考吧，就是说有意的去参照那样一种形式。
我先说一下我简单说一下就是我的考量，就是或者说我简单的回述一下我的背景，就是因为我从小在中国一个我觉得相对来说非常传统的北方的中国家庭长大，然后我小时候学书法，然后会看到周边的，比如说我生活在县城，我周边的艺术其实就是书法、国画可能就限于花鸟等等，然后大人们在谈论的也是什么如果谈到文化类的问题，可能就会去谈四书五经、论语，或者说就是一切跟中国传统文化有关的东西。但是当我进入到大学、进入到美院去学习的时候，我其实是一个突然间进入到一个所谓的当代艺术这样一个媒介，所以我现在回溯我个人的背景，其实就是一个很复杂又很周转的这么一个过程。然后在我这可能从事了10来年的当代艺术影像包括摄影的创作之后，我会发现就是当我去看很多不同艺术的展览，比如说当我走到这个故宫或者说上海博物馆去看展览的时候，当我看到中国的宋元的绘画或者说是古典的山水画，我觉得就是会有一种强烈的审美。但是当我走到上海，不是上海博物馆，当我走到上海美术馆去看现当代的人在画山水的时候，我就觉得有点我看不进去。就是我觉得山水应该是宋元倪瓒、黄公望的样子，不应该是上海美术家协会主席的样子，类似这种吧，可能是我的局限。但是当我从事自我创作的时候，我又很难避免这种我觉得我愿意把它称之为所谓的基因，文化基因，就是我近期有一个作品，我觉得可以非常快速的映照刚才Paul提出这个问题，就是我用宝丽来拍了很多不同地域的山，比如说有江南的、浙江的山，那种丘陵式的山，也有像陕西华山那种很多石头的山，然后这些不同的山其实给了我很多关于我刚刚提到的宋元山水里面的那个笔墨的 不同趣味的感觉。然后我用水彩的绘画，然后去画跟这个我拍的宝丽来这种并置在绘画跟宝丽来并置到一起。但是呢，我觉得我现在能做的，当然就是不会说在这种宣纸上会去画这种水墨，而是通过我这么多年在当代艺术领域的一些实践，然后但是我又很难去避免刚才说的这个所谓的文化审美的基因，所以我觉得可能就是一步有意无意的走到今天的这样一个创作的境地里面来。
So, so Haijiao talk about his personal sort of history involved with art. That before he went to the art academy, he was trained. He had been trained for years as a more, ink medium artist. With calligraphy, with painting, that sort of thing. So he's very familiar with this context before he went to the art academy. So when he entered it, all of a sudden, the language, the context changed to the more than the contemporary one, which he took time to adapt. Yeah. So sort of structurally, that sort of what's the word for it? That dichotomy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Embedded there, right? As he learning art, and so he mentioned this year he went to Shanghai, right? And in the Shanghai Museum, he saw the ink painting from Songyuan dynasties, and he also saw other ink works from contemporary like Shanghai artist associates. Yeah, which he really disapproved of it, Yeah, and according to him, the ink painting should be like what Songyuan is, what Songyuan's works, looks like, but not the contemporary one, which is also ink media, but lost the core completely, according to him. So, and also at the end, he mentioned his most recent work to reflect Paul's question. So his most recent work is the one that took photography. He used this polyloud. Yeah, okay, camera. Okay, right. So to basically photograph the different types of various mountains in China, right? Since mountains are really different with each other geographically, Yeah. So there are the one that full of rocks and high in the clouds, and there are one more like soft plateau, like that sort of thing. And he also using he juxtaposed the photography of it to different ink art that he found. I think from history or right as a context, as a text, basically as a text. And he feel like the way strokes develop, and the photography, the shadow and the lighting part, there's a more sort of connection similarities in there, right? So yeah, that's how he respond Paul's question, about this embedded sort of more like what's the word, retrospective tradition, yeah.
It's maybe difficult, very difficult, if not impossible, just to make ink painting today.
Oh, no, yes,
So you have to adapt it to modern circumstances. I mean, the traces of the classical aesthetic can continue, but they have to continue probably in different forms. Lijie, what about you? How do you respond to this idea?
I have to tell you that it's very coincidence. Ma Haijiao and I was graduate from the experimental image studio in the intermediate college from the China Academy of Art. So for me, I was born in Shenzhen, so it was a high-tech park, and it's no cultural scene. There's at least cultural scene. It's no culture because it's a very young city. So when I go to the college, I began to learn some like Chinese traditional, cause like China Academy of Art is very strong for their traditional painting. So at that time, I start to learn that things, and I also research how to use the camera and the shot to show that feeling. So how to make the like experimental image to spare the traditional Chinese culture's feeling. So that's my learn from that, and I also travel to see the like the to Shanxi province to see the Song Destiny's Temple buildings. I love it a lot. So I think it changed me for take this. Yeah.
Because if you were students together, but you must have been taught by Zhang Peili,
Yang Fudong.
Yang Fudong.
Yeah.
And Yang Fudong's the obvious person here because he uses cinematic technology and aesthetics, but he's always touching on Chinese history and classical Chinese culture. Now, you guys are doing something quite different, both from him and each other. But it's interesting that you were being taught in the space where that meeting between historical Chinese culture and new media was taking place.
Yeah, because I think we are all very proud of to learn the Chinese traditional cultures. And I think it's very interesting just when we graduate from the school in the masterpiece and Haijiao go to the north of the China and I go to the south of the China. So it's very interesting you see these two videos and it's totally different atmosphere, but it also show the Chinese nowadays.
Yes.
And so I think it reminds me to think about the Marco Polo's book 24 Cities.
Yeah.
So it look like a different country, but it's also China, and these two work is also about the song. But it's different with Haijiao's work. I think it's very interesting. I always thinking there's no person in your film, but I always get there's person. But when you see the sentence on the wall, and when you but there's no persons in the film actually, and I think it's very interesting city why there's no person if that old person leave and come to the south of the China like the person in my video. So it let me think a lot. So I was want to ask you why you choose this city, because Zhongwei I think is a very very small city, and why you choose that place to take this video?
就是我觉得刚刚丽姐讲的，就是特别有意思，就是我的作品里面没有人，他的作品里面全是人，就是我先回应说，就是为什么去选择中卫，就是因为在前几年我的创作里面，包括我觉得在22年我做了一个个展，然后我就把展览的标题称作叫北方 North the North， 就是我觉得北方南方就是好像是一个除去就是比如说在中国我们有南派北派，然后我们南方北方它代表着某种更广阔的文学意义，比如说在学术界我们所谓的全球南方又是一个概念，就是所谓的这样一个方向的一个指代，其实它有更多的艺术性跟文学性或者大文化范畴的这么一个表述，所以其实对我来说北方它代表着非常复杂的一种情境，然后去中卫是因为我觉得它更关联于我关于北方的这么一种想象，就是 刚刚提到的干燥啊，然后没有人啊，空旷啊，沙漠呀、戈壁啊，这种有点寸草不生的这么一种情境，其实它代表着很多艺术的审美、文化的语境，所以就是也是非常机缘的契机。然后我有一个在冬天的为期1个月的驻地在那边，然后也慢慢的促成了这个作品。所以今天其实这2个作品在播放的时候，我觉得这种对比，其实它会给我们一种关于中国现在意义上的一种阐述。比如我刚刚也讲，中国其实是一个很复杂的国家。我们去东北，我们可以看到很多，比如说工厂的遗迹。我们去西北会看到一些不同民族的，或西北或者西南不同种族的这么一种感觉。然后到了南方，比如说江浙是一种感觉，到了大湾区又是另外一种状态。所以其实这2件作品其实反而体现了中国的这种人口流动过程中不同的在当下的一种状态。
Thank you.
Brief praise.
Yeah. So Haijiao said it is interesting that in Lijie's work there's 12 people, and in his work there's no people at all. But yeah, according to Lijie, you feel the presence of people somewhere, right? So for Haijiao, he said he put a lot of effort on thinking about the the north-south dichotomy in culture-wise, intellectual-wise, historical-wise. So it is a long topic, when you talk about Chinese culture, right? Well, I mean, think about it. Geographically, even sort of the north, the west, east, it's quite different geography landscapes, but in daily life, people, or historically and contemporarily, most people talk about is this north-south dichotomy. The landscape, the climate, the culture, it's sort of, you can find your familiar part in the other part, but it's also in a different sort of ground context, a lot of levels. So yeah. So yeah, also Ma Jiao emphasized this, how complicated Chinese local culture is. Chinese is a place that China is a place full of different local cultures, such as in Dongbei, you can see this post-industrial ruins, relics, right? More often, and that's what people talk about. That's what you see in the city, and in the south. In the south, in the northwest part of China, you see the Muslims' architecture. You see the ethnic issues, right? And that's what people talk about, right? And all this, little bit this, little bit that, all blended into this, contemporary Chinese movement, politically, socially, demographically, a lot of levels. So, okay, so, and more than that, right? North is also, according to him, North is also a literature North. It's also a aesthetic North, right? It's a lot of, in a lot of levels. Yeah, in every level, basically. When we talk about history, culture, liberal arts, there's a north of it and there's a south of it. Yeah, I will personally add a little bit that I think in Europe or in U.S. case, it's also very obvious, right? There's a north-south difference more than like a east-west difference, right? In each local culture. And basically, that's what he said.
Is that when I'm looking at your work, physical people are not present in the video, but you really feel that people are there, they're present, and the kind of animated images just make them into kind of ghosts. And with your work, you see a lot of people, but they're also ghosts, because you're not always sure whether they're real imaginary or poetic. So I think it's kind of a flip side for both of your work, that both of you have people present, but in different ways. And those people are always spectral or ghostly and never quite present in a single space. Well, look, I think all it leaves me to say is, can I just thank you all very much? And I think the things that you were saying, I think were gave some incredible insights into the significance of your work. But you don't give us a clear meaning, which I think makes the work very, very interesting. Was there a question? Do you want to ask a question?
Thanks. I have 2 questions for the artist, but because my English is trash, so I have to say Mandarin. 就是说，您刚刚说您的那个影片是在17年拍摄的，是吗？那就是您是最近才把它转成一个作品的嘛？就是刚刚冲印出来的嘛？是什么契机让您去把这个古老的素材做成一个作品？
就是我觉得我做东西的时候，可能从一个想法到最后做出来，它其实可能不是总是那么顺利的。就有的时候是一个想法，可能要放很久，然后才知道要怎么样用什么样的材料、什么样的方式去呈现它会更合适。所以是放了这么长时间。对，就以前我老师也有说过一句话，就是他拍完一个片子，然后就会放在那里不看那个素材几年，然后之后再打开那个素材。我觉得就有点像，比方说我们拍一个胶卷，然后你没有冲洗它，然后你放几年之后你再去冲洗它去看它，跟你立马拍完了之后你立马去冲洗它看出来那个感觉是不一样的。
So, as I'm an independent animation director, so I have a question for this. 您在做您的这个作品的时候，有用到一些动画的技术，对吧？就是您是拍了这个影像之后转描出来的。
对，
然后
转描就是
那您
就是叫定格动画吧？
定格动画，
就是我拍完这个人的形象之后，把它投影到墙上，然后完了之后就描它的轮廓，就转描嘛，描完一帧拍照之后，然后把它擦掉，再画下一帧。所以就是一个定格动画吧。
所以您是完全是用了一个非数码的媒介去给它画完的。
对，因为我刚刚解释的时候好像也有提到，就是因为我在做这个作品的时候，就是也试验了很多方法。其实它的概念是一个影子，我就把它称作为影子剧场吧。就是它的这个墙面就像一个背景舞台一样，然后上面就是影子。然后呢，那我怎么实现这个影子？也用过，比如说 AI 去做呀，或者去建一个模，然后让人走，然后用3D 去做。但我觉得好像都太物理了，就是它太光滑了，就太，或者就是，所以在做这个过程中，我发现其实鸟飞的动作，人走路的动作，我们想象其实它就是一个无限循环的重复。但是其实，比如说我们每个人都是上帝渲染出来的这个3D 建模的话，那其实这个里面它会有非常微小的，跟我们在数码去做的时候非常不一样的那个微妙的不一样。所以我就觉得这个也是我最后选择用这种非常手工的方式去做的一个原因。对。
So I have another question, maybe a little bit rude. I have to apologize to three artists. 就是说，我是一个催眠师啊，我本身是一个催眠师 ，I'm a hypnotist
啊，催眠师。
So when I say the film, 就是当代艺术，可能您做的东西都有点偏当代艺术各位，然后我会觉得看这些作品的时候会有一点点犯困。就是 就是您选择这样子，而不是那些传统的媒介，或者是传统的那些手法，或者是古典艺术之类的，您去做这样的作品是为了更好的表达呢，还是说您对这一些创作有自己的偏好？
你不回答了。我觉得就是没有用传统的那种方式，我觉得可能是因为就是实验影像跟我们平常就是看的那种有这种戏剧性啊、几幕剧啊，然后有开头、有高潮，然后有结尾，它的这种感觉可能是不太一样的。就是我也经常看很多，比方说文艺片啊的时候，就比方说看什么类似安东尼奥尼或者 whatever， 就是一些比较经典的一些片子，就是我也会想要睡觉，我甚至也睡着了。我们以前就是在学校的时候，就是因为学这个专业必须要看很多很多这方面的片子，我们每天中午都看，然后也经常睡着。但是你醒过来了之后，你仍然会觉得哇，这个片子拍得太棒了。就是这个东西催不催眠，是否睡着，并不影响你对这个片子的感受和质量。
I understand。
对，所以我觉得做这样子的东西是没问题的。
OK。
我在那个有一个伊朗导演叫阿巴斯的那个访谈中，也有人问到他类似的问题，然后我当时也想看他怎么回答，然后他回答是说，他回答是说我有时候跟朋友去电影院看一个好莱坞电影，然后可能我120分钟都很精神，然后我一直在跟着他的叙事走，但我出了电影院我就忘了刚才发生了什么。但是我可能在看一个艺术电影的时候，在这个电影院我120分钟有90分钟睡着了，但是其实接下来1个星期我都在想这个电影，所以就是我觉得他的回答还挺有意思的，对对，就很大导演的感觉。
Well, yes, I think that would be good. Just a
Brief
brief
translation. Okay,
summary.
okay. So about the question and answer, right? Okay. So he's asking that he feel a little bit sleepy when watch the film, our films, and he's asking if that's intentional or why make it sleepy? Why make it a little bit visually boring? Is what he's asking. So the artist gave the response, and Lijie said, during her study in academy, they watch the classic film, such as Antonioni's European, directors' films in 20th centuries a lot every day in the noon after the lunch, I assume, and they all fall asleep. They can't finish it, and they fall asleep because but us, you wake up and maybe it's only the last 10 minutes left, but you still can recognize, oh man, that's good. This is a good shot. This is a good a camera language, and it impresses you even just that minutes there. Okay. So yeah, and Lijie just said, it's okay to be sleepy because it depends on the audience to judge if it's boring or not. But a good thing is a good thing, even just a glance of it. And Haijiao add a little bit more onto this response by saying, 什么？
伊朗的导演。
Oh yeah. Okay, you mentioned this Iranian director called Abbas something.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, someone approached him and asked basically the same question, and 他说什么？
就是他看一个好莱坞电影，
出了电影院。Okay, and what Abbas' response is, maybe when he watched a Hollywood film, let's say, right, and he can be perfectly excited for the 120 minutes, but after that, when he walk out from the cinema, you forget what you just have said, right? And so could we count it as ordinary or boring? Right? Even you're excited at the sight. Whereas the other thing is, a sort of more artistic film, experimental film, you might fall asleep for a long time, but for the rest of the week or the month,
Yes.
it's stuck in your mind, wondering what happened, during your slept time. What visually that could be, right? So yeah, that's a very good response to that question, I think.
I think those feelings of boredom aren't necessarily in the videos, they're with the reader or the viewer. And actually, to feel sleepy is to want to dream.
Yeah.
And you mentioned this. This is one of the intrinsic qualities of cinema and video, is that it's dreamlike. It's both real and dreamlike. And certainly my experience of these films is there's definitely a kind of flatness of poetry. You're not conveying a definite message. But when you've watched the videos, especially if you've watched them several times, you go away and they're imprinted in your memory and experience. And so those memories come back to you unwillingly. You start to think about these videos and how you feel about them because having watched them, they're with you. But actually, part of the experience of this is to dream what's in the video as much as to see the reality in the videos. So, in other words, it's not wrong to feel sleepy. It's just your body telling you to dream.
Yeah, that's like the intrinsic quality of video, right?
It is. It's an intrinsic quality. And particularly when they're handled in these poetical ways. I mean, I'll say it again. I have the utmost admiration for you as artists for resisting the contemporary tendency simply to use media like this to convey messages, to tell us about something, to protest about it, to adopt a clear political position, for example. You're doing something which is much more artistic. You're embedding things in the memory of your audience, which they then think about and feel and cannot control because they're like dreams. And I think that's a significant quality of art and poetry, which I think artists should be concerned about, and not just telling us stuff we already know. Why do I need to know about something I can see on the news or the media?
You're right.
Just pointless. But you're doing something much more interesting. So I'd really like to thank you. I'd like to thank the audience. I'd like to thank Lin Zi for doing his questions and interpretation. That's absolutely fantastic. I'd like to thank Yique for his big efforts in staging this. And it is not easy to stage a video event in China. So very well done for that. So thanks to everybody, and thanks to Wen, our project manager, who's worked with Yique closely on this and the exhibition that we're going to be doing next year. It's absolutely wonderful. And it's hopefully, if we can bring this work to a wider audience, both in China and internationally, then we've been successful. And if we can make that audience dream or feel that they're dreaming in relation to the work, then we really have been successful. So thank you very much. Thank you.